what happens in nuclear war. They're like, fuck it, and you just blow up everything.
Yes.
Like, if an actual nuclear war started, well, apparently Russia has developed a nuke that can take out the area of France. And that's exactly what it does. It's like one super nuke, and the explosion is France-shaped. Like the exact shape of France. So everyone in Belgium is safe. Is perfectly safe.
Yeah, at the moment you cross the border, you're safe.
Yeah, exactly. So
I don't think they would have to use a plane and get a pilot who would be okay with not surviving the drop.
No. Like I said, it's shaped exactly like France. So if you're sufficiently high up in the sky. Also, who's saying anything about needing pilots? I mean, come on, it's the current year. We have intercontinental ballistic missiles.
I have to tell you a secret as well. There were plenty of pilots who were willing to go on one-way missions. In fact, basically all of them at wartime.
All of them?
Yes, all of them. Because every pilot who hopped in a plane and flew towards flak cannons was well aware that that day could be their last.
And of course, then you had Russians who basically flew planes that were made of cloth and wood.
And then you had the Japanese who flew planes that were literally fitted out to be bombs. It's like, oh, our bombs keep missing. Oh, if only we could guide them somehow. I know. Let's stay in the plane till it hits.
That makes me wonder.
At least their intention was to kill themselves. The Russians were like, okay, I think we want to survive, but let's just do it in the most sure way we can.
It makes me wonder though, because, you know, would those Japanese kamikaze pilots still do the thing they did if they realized what Japan were to become in like 50 years? They're like, so it's like this vision, and they see that becomes everything's kawaii ugu, and
obviously this vision means that not enough of them died in the service of Emperor.
Look, if the Japanese had foresight and they saw forward and they saw the anime that exists today, I'm sure more of them would have signed up for being kamikazes.
So in other words, if we want to change the outcome of World War II, all we need to do is invent a time machine and bring... Okay, so which anime do we bring? What's the one anime that will surely, you know, fanaticize the kamikaze pilots to the point where they will just destroy everything?
Yeah,
that new one where all the
one.
The new one where all the girls fight each other by thrusting their buttocks at each other.
That's almost as bad as One Piece.
I don't know what it's called, but there's an anime out there that's all about fighting by butt.
That doesn't sound... that sounds bad, but not bad to the point where a kamikaze pilot would be enticed to do even more than they already were planning to.
How about all those harem animes where the guy never gets laid, with 20 girls fawning over him the entire time?
Wasn't there?
And they look at that and they say, "Why would we want Japanese to become such a horribly sexually repressed culture?"
How about that anime where, you know, it's like one of those magical girl animes, but their what was it? Their strength. I think it was their strength. The power comes from embarrassment. Apparently, that exists. So
yes,
like,
then
I'm
they
so
start
embarrassed.
shooting blood off their nose.
That too. Well,
And
then again,
their
if we
enemies,
could
their nose
weaponize
blood.
it somehow, if we could somehow weaponize the blood gushing nose action, whatever, that could be pretty terrifying, maybe. Also, let me not forget to say, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a spooky episode of Radio Rothingham, 1 week after Halloween. So, sup, dudes?
Too spookified me.
This is episode 42, which is only... wait, yeah.
No, I think we are 41.
Yeah, 41, because it's one episode less than 42, which is all about
we are
me, I guess.
at least episode 5.
I
Yes,
forgot how
at
to
least.
count.
That also depends. Are we using base 10 or base 8?
12.
Oh, base 12.
Mhm.
But I'm too lazy to try and convert it to base 12. So
Oh no.
I mean, yeah, no, just no. That sounds an awful lot like effort, and we already established that. When it comes to Radio Rothingham, I try to minimize effort as much as possible. That's why I'm drawing all the time when we're doing these.
Effort is overrated.
Well, for
Exactly.
you, drawing isn't effort. It's like second nature. You've practiced it so much at this point. You put down a pencil, and all of a sudden there's art, and everyone's like, "How'd that happen?" And you're like, "Oh no."
I don't know. It's just something to do. Also, I'm gonna do something terrible. I'm going to culturally appropriate Irish culture.
Yeah.
There we go. Marcus. Wait a minute.
Sure.
When's since St. Paddy's Day, by the way? Isn't that like...
March.
Oh, okay. That's
16th.
gonna take a while.
It's not tomorrow.
No.
March
Well, it's
17th.
this tomorrow on some distant planet or parallel universe. I don't know.
But that's the worst holiday you can imagine. Imagine this:
Hmm?
your country, perfectly happy, being Vikings, raiding, pillaging, murdering everyone that they don't like, and then one of the slaves you captures infects you with religion, and then it spreads like a plague.
That sounds pretty terrifying. Samya.
It is. It's like, you sail over to England, you're like, oh, look at these little scrubs, playing on beaches, living happy lives. And you go in, kill all their parents, drag them home, and one of them starts showing you shamrocks and saying, look, this is God. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And before you know it,
You're
you're
Christian
Christian.
nation.
yeah,
Hmm?
the most disgusting thing that's ever happened to the country. And I think that's really why we all drink ourselves to death on St. Patrick's Day.
You just want to try and drown out a memory by celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. All the sense.
It
Yep.
really does.
Yep.
It's at least the only reason I can imagine would drink themselves silly on that day.
But do you?
No, I don't. I try to pretend it doesn't exist. Maybe get a green milkshake from McDonald's because that's about the only good thing that happens on Patrick's Day. Mint
Cool.
milkshakes.
That does sound pretty interesting. But not interesting enough for me to hop on an airplane and go to Ireland on St. Paddy's Day. Also, I'm pretty sure you can get that shit on the continent somewhere at some point.
You can
I mean-
buy a piece of Ireland.
Yeah, people have done that. People have made a living selling Americans lumps of Irish clay.
Yep. I think you brought up in one episode. You're like,
no.
yes. That is amazing. And it also seems that Americans are particularly interested in Ireland for some reason.
It's
Well,
because they all think they're Irish.
all of them, no
All of
exception.
them.
Okay, all our American viewers, which is probably like 0.2 at this point. So what do you think? Like, vote with your phones now,
Mhm.
and let us know how Irish you think you are.
Oh, by the way, I used to work at one of the places that did those phone bettings.
Huh?
The votes were rarely actually counted. They'd usually decided who'd won the show before it aired. Just so you know.
Because it's cheaper, or because no one just gave a shit?
No, because they wanted to make money. So they would make money on the votes, which was great, but then they would also make money by promoting the most likely, or the singers they actually thought were best, regardless of whether people voted for them or not.
Right. Well, at least
Except
it's not...
that time that
Oh.
Jedward won. Nobody knows how that happened.
Also, apparently there's people going around in the United States telling people that you can vote by phone,
Mhm.
which is obviously the fabrication, because, that is insecure as all fuck to be able to vote by phone. Also, it's incredibly stupid, and yeah, there's not a single problem with that statement whatsoever. Like, there's no way that shit can backfire.
No.
Not at all.
Oh, the American. It's good. It'll be over in a week, guys.
Yeah,
November
I'm
8th.
so glad that the
It'll be over
shitstorm is
soon.
finally gonna be over, because it legit starts to wear me down.
I think you care too much.
How
Yeah,
long
and
do
I legitimately try not to care about it.
Then why are you
But-
so worn down? I don't care, and I'm so happy about all thing everywhere.
I don't know. It's just that we're constantly being exposed to it. Because
Yep.
yeah, as far as the
I
outcome is
would totally
concerned,
expose myself to the politicians.
because I have no stake in either of them winning. Like,
Yeah.
it is American politics, and yeah, the outcome may. Well, we all know that, you know, the real decisions are already being made behind closed doors. So anyone who thinks, yeah, my vote is going to change everything, is a fucking idiot. Because
America is actually run by the Senate, isn't it?
not just
and
that,
has-
but corporations pretty much run the show.
That too.
Everyone who thinks, yeah, the government is going to create policy and it's going to steer the country into whatever direction the people want it to, you're fucking delusional. Everything's already decided behind closed doors.
You think democracy works?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
obviously, what's going to happen is Trump will win, and then immediately they'll go to nuclear war, and then they'll blame Trump.
Or Hillary wins, and then we immediately go to nuclear war, and then they'll blame Trump.
Yeah.
In other words,
exactly.
that doesn't really fucking matter.
Well, no.
Well-
See, if Trump wins, they'll go to nuclear war, and if Hillary wins, they'll go back to chemical warfare.
Ah,
That,
You see, because she's
to
a
be-
woman,
to be-
and women like to use acid in poison attacks.
you know, like those progressive countries in the Middle East. Or Pakistan.
much
Pakistan.
progress. Such well.
Wasn't it Pakistan where women are they're thrown acid in women's faces because they aren't obedient enough?
It's a
Yeah.
favorite pastime in many countries.
Acid attacks are a thing. It's horrible. Could you imagine that? Like someone just throwing a gallon of hydrochloric acid all up in your face, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
Such a waste of acid.
I know. I could have used this to make potatoes.
But instead, you're just dying and.
No, it doesn't kill you. See, that's the thing. Acid
depends.
attacks are
Depends,
very rarely fatal. They just,
Oh,
horribly maim your skin and leave you
Okay,
scarred for the rest of your life.
you'd think that attack like that could kill you, but okay, so it just maims you.
It
That's
horribly
quite-
maims you. That's
Yes.
why they're so.
Obviously, if it didn't kill you, they didn't take you hard. That's the problem with acid.
Well, no, we're talking being sprayed with acid versus being dipped in acid. If you're dipped in acid, it's probably going to kill you. If you're being sprayed with it, you need a lot of acid to burn through all your flesh and muscle and get to vital organs. They'd need to be hosing you down with a fucking fire hose to actually kill you.
But yeah, if I have to choose between being obliterated by nuclear blast or, you know, being killed by some chemical attack, I pick the nuclear blast, because that shit is over in an instant, and you at least get to.
It really depends on where in which radius you are, because of course if you're in the close radius you're gonna get killed instantly, but if you are the further away you are, then you will be first, you will find, but then you will get sick eventually, like radiation sickness or radiation poisoning, and it will be very awful process.
Yeah, but you see, then you have the option to just jump off a bridge, or do it even more chill-like and just take helium and do it that way. Like,
You just made me realize what we need to invent as the next weapon of military combat is basically just a radiation gun. So you don't kill anyone on the battlefield. You just horribly irradiate them, so later they suffer a horrible death, and they don't even know they've been poisoned.
But how does it even help in combat? Because
it wouldn't. It's just a horrible thing to do to people.
Yeah.
Because when I'm in a war and this guy or woman, let's not be sexist here.
Yes,
let's encourage here.
Yes.
So
exactly.
this woman walks up to you, she's like,
Let's be progressive. Women belong to the front lines.
She's on the front lines. She comes up to you with an AK-47 or I don't know, an AK-47. When I'm 16,
a Glock.
Or Glock. Anyways, comes up to you. You're like, holy shit! If I don't do something, I'll die. And I need to destroy the object that's going to end my life. But then you realize that you also made a microaggression because you called that woman an object. So you're objectifying her, you terrible shitlord. But you need to do something because this woman obviously has the intent on killing you with her weapon. So yeah, you use your radiation gun and it doesn't do anything. You're like, oh shit. Well, it is going to kill her eventually, but right now I'm still in danger.
Oh yeah, no. The radiation gun wouldn't be for actually winning a fight.
Yes.
It'd be for torturing your enemy long after the hit you were gone.
Well, it does factor in the whole statistic that men are more prone to dying on the workspace. So in this case, they immediately die by means of bullet to the chest.
Yeah, but you realize we're also talking about a woman here, so all you have to do is microaggress her and she'll give up. Just say she doesn't look good in that uniform, that her butt looks big.
Well, it kind of depends. If it's a honey badger kind of woman, then she won't give a shit, or she might even become more fanatical as she realizes, oh wait, this guy thinks he's going to defeat me by using
Don't
weird
be silly,
Fashion
Artrix.
sense.
I've been told by feminists that such women aren't women. So
what are they? They don't exist?
They're men.
Oh.
That's
Man
the
in
that
sheep's
makes sense.
clothing.
Yeah, exactly. So that doesn't count.
Oh.
Obviously, those women are actually men. We have to respect that they are behaving in the gender role assigned to males, and thus are male. That's how it works, right?
Maybe.
Definitely.
You are how you behave.
Oh, so if I behave very feminine, then I can call myself woman. Is that how it works? I mean, I don't look like a woman whatsoever. But if I just behave like one, so that's how it works?
That's what I've been told.
Oh.
By the internet.
I'm not
The
entirely
internet's
sure if
always
I'll
right on these
trust
things.
these people with this kind of information.
Well, they're doing things like, when they go to school and children behave in non-standard ways, they want to, give them treatments with hormones to correct this behavior.
I mean, when... Yeah, I heard a bunch of, like, there was something in the news recently about... was it about Islams or about gender? At this point, I don't know, because they are so alike.
They are indistinguishable.
At this point, they almost are.
Islamic gender wars. Got it?
Basically.
But where they basically forced children to sit there and praise Allah.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
also
that was
to
Sounds
feminism.
okay.
That was in a British school recently, and
As long as Allah is transgendered.
no, it was Swedish. But
Oh well, that makes
Like,
sense.
why would you even mention Sweden?
I found it funny. There was a note on that article. I read that recently. I can't remember the full text of it, but I do recall that the author made a little note again that said, "Could you imagine what would happen if you tried to drag all these Muslim students to a church and have them pray to God. I was like, no, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand about this whole thing. Like, you're forcing children to praise to Allah, but not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
How is that?
You are not forcing Allah to pray to children.
I mean, how is that even fair? Or how do these people not even realize the implications? How can you do that sort of thing in a supposedly open, free society where, I mean, if you're going to force one religion down people's throat, you should also do it with the others. But that's obviously not happening.
Artrix, see, the people who are doing the Islam are brown, and that makes your argument invalid.
Not necessarily. That's a common defense. Like, yeah, you must be racist because you don't like the Islams. But for one thing, Islam isn't a race. Maybe for her that we haven't. But yeah,
that's an awful racist thing to say, Artrix. Saying Islam isn't a race. Are you diminishing their ability to practice their own racialness?
I mean, someone from the Middle East can be an atheist if they wanted to. And as a matter of fact, there was like this video of this guy was like, "Hey Sweden, I want asylum," and Sweden's like, "Fuck off," and he's like, "Why?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're not actually threatened in your country." And then he burned the Quran, and then it was like, "No, I'm in. So no, if I go back, they'll kill me."
They burn me like this book that I just burned.
Yeah, it's insane or how important this book kinda is. Like, even doing a rap about this book is like, oh my god, take this video down.
Oh,
meanwhile, with the Bible, except for the Westboro Baptist Church, no one gives a fuck.
But that's because it's hip and cool to shit on Christianity these days, and not entirely unjustified because there's a lot of bad shit.
Christians are oppressed.
Speaking of horrible, shitty things that are happening in Islamic countries, Turkey has recently lost all notion of democracy.
So that's what they are doing the last 5 months.
That's true. But this week
so.
they arrested. There was an attempted coup, and the entire
again.
And the entire Democratic Party has been arrested.
So Erdogan was like, okay, I got rid of all my opponents in the army. Who's next?
And there was a bombing. With over 100 people injured. Not sure how many were killed, but probably many.
Is that a part of it? Or is it just an unrelated event?
This was all related to an attempted coup.
Oh yeah, but what's interesting about this coup is that he happened to be not like he was in a plane while the coup happened. Of course, all coincidental. And then he had streamed like a live message to fight for him.
No, of course.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like
he was very lucky that these evil people that want to kill him didn't kill him. Right?
Yeah.
That's what's
it's almost like a situation in DeviantArt where some artist steals some other artist OC and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm on the plane, but hear me out. This other guy's stealing my OC, and I want you all to report him. Go ahead and report him, and because he stole my OC." It's like that, except with geopolitics.
He stole my turkey.
Yeah, they stole my original country. Do not steal.
Actually,
but it's also very interesting how quickly they had the list of all the people involved in it. Usually, such things require investigations that go at least for weeks or even months, if not years. And now suddenly, like the next day, oh look, those 2,500 people were it.
So, are you saying that a country that's eliminating democracy had something shady about the initial coup that made it possible to eliminate democracy?
Yes.
Like controlled opposition, or they more or less kind of wanted it to happen so they could push for not so very nice legislation. Like what happened in a certain country across the pond. They were like, this terrorism sure is a thing that happens. It would be a shame if something happened to your liberties. But, you know, you want to be safe, don't you? Just a little bit. Just straighten a little bit, you know, and you'll be safe.
It's not like they're ever going to, you know, remove all your rights to privacy and security and violate, you know, the integrity of your own home. Just because you made a terrible post on Facebook and now you're an international terrorist, apparently.
Oh no, I posted Pepe the Frog. And now they're like, yeah, you're obviously alt-right right now, so...
Which is a crime.
Yeah. I still find amazing that ever became a thing.
What, the alt-right, or that it's being demonized?
Well, the alt-right I mean, people still have trouble even describing what the fuck alt-right even is.
Oh yes, that's true.
I mean, I've heard
I'm still not quite sure what it is.
To me, it seems... Okay, I'm just going out on a limb here because, you know, at this point it's still one big guessing game. But I guess that it means that it's basically anyone who disagrees with social justice. But that's, you know, I might be completely wrong.
No,
I don't know.
I think that's about right.
Well,
I mean, think it's the non-authoritarian right. I think that's what they're calling it.
Well, on a more serious note, from what I gather, it's like conservatives, but they don't really adhere to traditional conservative values. Like they're not Christ facts, so they're not like, oh, Christ this, Christ that, blah blah blah. But yeah, they're like conservatives, but liberal. I don't know, something like that.
Liberal conservative? That sounds horrible. We must murder them all immediately. I don't understand. It scares me.
Better destroy it.
Alright, well, I guess that's about enough when it comes to inking this Johnny Bravo, who is obviously the biggest misogynist ever conceived by mankind. I mean, it's not like it's not like in the original series he was obviously meant to be like a terrible person, but you know, not in a terrible way, because he was in a perpetual state of being unlucky. Wait a minute, that brings me to another topic that I want to bring up, because apparently in the current year +1, they're going to make and release and post and air a new version of Johnny Bravo.
Oh no. In current year.
In current year +1. Because it's going to be in 2017. So it's not... Well, it will be current year when you're listening, you know, to this in the future, which is entirely possible.
It will be current year when you listen to this in the current year.
It's true.
So yeah, if you are, dear time traveler, if you are in the current year of 2017, send us a message. Okay, send us a message like, I got here safely, and you know, for all we know, it's a perfect wonderland. Everything turned around just fine, and 2017 is a wonderful year.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, generally speaking, the year 7 of any decade is shit.
Although they can't be much worse than 2015 and 2016.
I don't know. 2016's been a fairly decent year so far. Like, I think 2015 was generally speaking a shittier year.
We had so many things happen. So many current events that were current at the time.
But not anymore.
They're over now. They're in the past. History keeps moving, erasing everything with the Langoliers.
Yes. So you're just standing there, just minding your business, and then these fucking Langoliers come along and eat everything. You're like, you old me, and they don't say anything because the Langoliers and their only job is to devour everything that's in the current year.
Minus one.
Minus.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
So you in current year +1, you're good. And if you eat a sandwich, if you go ahead. I dare you. You in the current year +1, go to your fridge and eat a sandwich and tell me how it tastes. And it probably tastes wonderful because it's still full of flavor. But you know, if you're listening in the past, somehow.
The current year -1.
Minus.
Okay, this is going nowhere.
Anyway, new Johnny Bravo in the year of the Lord 2017. Initial thoughts. What do you think it's gonna be like?
Initial thoughts on this movie that's going to come out in the year. Yes, good.
I imagine considering this year's trend of rebooted cartoons like Powerpuff Girls and Teen Titans Go, I can't imagine it being good, especially not with the social the politics of cartooning lately, and especially not with the flavor of character Johnny Bravo is supposed to represent. I can only imagine it being a really malicious anti-male show, just in general.
Well, from what I've read, apparently it's gonna be about Johnny Bravo and Susie, but it's gonna be in the future. So Susie's gonna be older. So yeah, that's already kind of a,
Confusing.
warning right there.
Who was Susie again?
Susie was like the little neighborhood girl that Johnny would hang out with for some reason. I mean, for some reason he had like, yeah. He wasn't really friends with her, but he did hang out with her an awful lot.
Yeah,
Or
because
she
Johnny
hung
Bravo
out.
had no friends his own for this one child.
Also, Susie seemed to be the only girl in the entire Johnny Bravo universe, aside from that deer, that seemed to have some sort of a thing for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
At very least, he was looking up to him, quite literally.
But what you see, the thing was, she judged Johnny based on the merit of his actions and not over him saying silly things to women.
That's very true.
How is that possible?
Gasp.
So
I know.
deep. Do you get to show more than probably the people that are gonna do the reboot? So obviously you should get a job at Cartoon Network. You should become the creative consultant of that show. So whenever one of the writers is gonna be like, we gotta insert a message about toxic masculinity, you just slap them in the face, be like, no, because Susie isn't like that. Fucking idiot. But yeah, I too do not think, or do not have
I
high
do not
hopes
think
for
in general.
this.
That's a good way to live your life.
Yes.
Just be oblivious of everything.
You'll get far that way. I've gotten pretty far that way.
Well,
somewhere.
I go through this podcast so far.
Oh no, that's not a good thing.
No. Well, it does show that you got an incredible amount of endurance for idiotic
Yeah,
idiocy.
survived
That's it.
this long.
It was almost like my job at McDonald's.
Almost.
Why would you do that to yourself?
I know. So it was like, yeah, I worked here for long enough. I saved up enough money to buy an awesome 19-inch CRT monitor. That's gonna cost me 1,600 guilders. But thanks to this job, I have the money and I'm going to go now forever. And then
An awesome 19-inch CRT monitor. That was my first monitor.
Wait, maybe you have my old monitor. Maybe it
No,
somehow made
it-
its way
it
all
was
the way
an
to
all-
the Netherlands or to Czech
It's an
Republic.
all new monitor.
Ah, it was new, okay.
I'm way ahead of you.
Because mine was new too, but then I sold it for 50 euros. Eventually.
Euros.
Mhm.
Money. It's hilarious.
No,
Why would
no,
anyone ever
no.
have that?
For that kind of money, you can
Euro.
for that kind of money you can probably buy a house in Czech Republic. I don't know.
No, that's euros. It's not money.
Yes.
You-
I
you-
just converted
you
to
buy
Czech.
things for money, Artrix, not for euros.
I can just convert them to Czech coronas. So I'm like, here's 50 euros, and they're like, well, we can give you a house or we can give you some cash, whichever one you prefer more. Well, obviously, I'll go for the house. Like, oh,
Or
just
they
the
are
house.
going to be like, fuck off, return when you have money.
No, because I'll be having a house, and then I'll sell a house, and then have like,
No, they wouldn't give you the house because you don't have money.
no, I do.
No, you don't. You have euros.
Because-
Like, what is they good for? Coasters,
Well,
maybe.
it's good for exchange of goods and services.
No,
I mean,
not here.
not here. No, that's why I converted to either Czech coronas, but they're like, no, we'll just give you a house instead. It's easier that way.
I don't think they would give you crowns. Like, why would they? Then they would be left with euros. What are you going to do with those?
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of Czech people that would gladly take some euros. I don't know about you, but
But those are
Kind of.
idiots. Come on.
I mean, there's plenty of Czechs driving around here, earning all the euros. I don't see them complaining about
I think they are there
euros.
because of the weed.
No, they live here and they work here, and they do a semblance of trying to integrate into Dutch culture, but they feel miserably.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not
Well, to be-
everyone is good at necromancy.
Exactly.
I don't think you got the joke.
Well,
You
there
said
was
your
this
culture
joke
was
where.
dead.
No, I think the joke was something else.
The joke is that Dutch.
The Dutch can somehow bring people back from the dead or something like that.
The Dutch, the language, it's the black
Ah.
tongue, the dead speak, the language of
Oh.
necromancers,
Ah, okay.
which all of you are.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
the last time I said this, the person I was talking to said that the Dutch person she knows is very offended by that, and he denies summoning more than a handful of.
Well, if that Dutch person was offended by that, then they're not being Dutch properly and correctly.
Yeah, exactly. He
And-
summoned
and I-
just
and
a
I-
handful of
and-
undead.
and dear
That's
sir-
nothing by Dutch
and-
standards.
And dear sir, I think you got a fake on your hands. I do not think that person is really Dutch. You
He's
may be
from
dealing with an
Ve-
imposter.
Western Frisia, or however you read it.
No,
Friesland.
that is, it is in the West. But still, yeah. Also, we don't really consider Frisia to be the really Dutch. The kind
And
of
here we
like,
go.
there we go. They're
No,
kind of
no
like
two Dutchmen.
they're technically all right. They're technically inside the Netherlands and they're part of the Netherlands. It's like
Is
Belgium.
your country really big enough for you to be picking and choosing which parts of it are not there?
Mhm. It
It's
is.
really big enough to have West.
No, Panboy. Not like Luxembourg, where you could, you could actually walk from one side of the country to another by foot. We're quite a bit bigger than that.
I used to eat once.
And then I accidentally Luxembourg.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I'm in Luxembourg, and then you walk, and then you're like, hey, I'm in Luxembourg City. I just walked from the Belgian border all the way to the Luxembourgian capital.
Oh, why would you want to do that?
I don't know, maybe because you're bored and you're like, well, might as well.
Why would you
Luxembourg,
want-
what I'm saying is that Luxembourg is really, really small, but it's not as small as, say, Liechtenstein or Andorra. Those countries are even smaller. Like, you can actually notice Luxembourg on the European map. Like, look at the European map, you can actually see Luxembourg. Like you can actually see the lines that make out the country and everything. But like Liechtenstein, it's just kind of wedged somewhere between Austria and Switzerland and Germany.
And the other country.
It's kind of somewhere around there, and you really need to zoom in to actually see the borders. So yeah,
Yay.
really small country. Same can be said about Andorra. It's like wedged somewhere between France and Spain. So you're in France, trying to get into Spain. Then you come across this tiny little valley country. It also speaks like a valley country, like.
And of course, then there's Monte Carlo.
I don't think that was a country. I think you're confusing it with San Marino and
No.
Monaco.
Yes.
Monaco is another one of those micro nations.
Yes.
That one's pretty small too.
Honestly, it basically is Monte Carlo and some trees.
Mhm. Oh, you're saying the Monte Carlo is a city inside Monaco?
Yes, and
Oh,
it's
that makes
inside
a lot of
Monaco.
sense.
But if you subtract Monte Carlo from Monaco, you are left with trees and a coastline.
Mhm.
So it's the bulk of the country, really.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I learned something new today, because I didn't know that. All this time I was under the impression that the city in Monaco was just called Monaco, but it's Monte Carlo.
Yep.
There we go. Cool. Well, there you go. Radio Rothingham actually teaching you a thing or two about the
I
planet.
once had a French lesson about this.
I'm pretty sure you might be the only one who had to learn that, Artrix.
You
Well,
see,
we never had French lessons.
Yep, nobody learns as French. Why would you do that?
I tried learning French.
Because the only other option was German, Panboy.
Oh,
Why didn't you go for German? That language could have been
Because I'm not
actually
suicidal.
useful to you. I mean, if they were like, "Hey, we give you job, but you have to go to Germany,"
It's going to be useful the next time they try to invade us.
true. It will be
which is
useful
probably
then.
going to happen in 2018.
I don't think it's going to happen. They have a invasion
Well, it
going
kinda
on right
depends.
now, and it's not going well for them.
That's
It
true.
kind of depends. It kind of if Merkel gets re-elected somehow, then you guys can probably expect an invasion in 2018. But
Well,
if she doesn't get re-elected, then
It'll be a refugee invasion, just like what the Germans are suffering right now. Only it'll be Germans leaving.
Exactly. So you'd be dealing with the German refugee crisis.
Yeah,
So-
at least German refugees know how to work.
And then
Exactly.
Germany
Just-
will be renamed Mecca too. Neo Mecca.
United German Emirates.
God, I want to see that now. I want to see an anime about Neo Mecca. In Germany. Of course it is. Speaking of things that are not awful, did any of you see the new Surface computer that Microsoft
Yes.
are trying to shut
I
down?
did. For a
Yeah.
moment, it was like I might want to get that, but then I saw the price tag, and then I realized for that kind of money, I can buy myself a Cintiq, like a really nice and big one.
Not
And
really,
But the
really
Cintiq
proud.
is just a screen, just a
Yes.
tablet. Meanwhile,
Yes.
the other thing from Microsoft is a full computer.
I
Yes,
haven't
but
seen that,
I
but
can-
let me say that Apple did a thing that doesn't have an escape key. Moving on.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
Apple are going out there being as retarded as they possibly can be, and Microsoft are like, "Hey, here's an all-in-one computer that can also draw and do graphic arts, and you might actually find this useful." It's if you look at the price and consider it's basically a large Cintiq with a mid-range computer attached, you'll see it's not really that expensive. But I would prefer I would prefer if they just sold the big screen thingy on that lovely hinge and let me plug in a real computer to it, because even the high end computer, the $4,000 model, it's only like an i7 with 32 gigs. No, I don't even think it has 32 gigs on, like 16. I'm like,
Well, it's the first generation. They need some improvement for the next generation, right?
But what Panboy said was kind of what I was going to say. For that price, I can get a Cintiq, a fairly big one, in fact, and a high-end computer.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have, less than that.
It's a mid-end computer.
It's mid-end, yeah. I wasn't really wowed by the specs of the actual computer.
That's the problem, because it's a microcomputer, and that's retarded.
Yeah,
Especially
for professional,
if you're
it doesn't
graphics
make
arts.
Yes, for professional setting, that's ridiculously underpowered. It almost sounds like the Nintendo Switch.
Exactly.
So for professional setting, the competition is the Mac, and the Mac is since always underpowered. So that's the competition you need to be looking at, because it's kind of marketed at artists and yeah.
Okay, yes,
Macs
Microsoft wanted.
Did you ever look at the at least in the 90s and early 2000s? Did you ever look at the high-end Mac computers? Those fuckers are OP as fuck. The only downside is that it was fucking proprietary Mac hardware, so you didn't have the flexibility of PCs.
Basically, the problem here is Microsoft have made a Mac, but they haven't made as many configurations of it as Mac do. So they've limited themselves to a really tight configuration that is quite, it's just not very impressively spec'd.
For you.
Exactly.
So if they were to act, because apparently they have the technology to make awesome tablets like this, it's
Entrig is the company that makes the actual tablet interface. Yeah.
Well, they bought the company.
Yeah.
That's why the Surface 3 has it, and Surface 4 and everything else.
So why don't they just sell me the goddamn tablet? I'm not interested.
I kind of like the controls of it. Like, you have the stylus, then you have the little wheel. Let's do big stuff. It's somewhere between amazing and pointless.
Yeah, because I'm wondering.
Well, it's made for artists, so yeah.
Well, all the artists have a thing like that. They all do.
Look, I'm an artist, and the wheel does look interesting. But if I compare to having physical buttons on the... What I'm missing with this whole thing is you basically get like a giant tablet PC, like just... Or not even tablet PC, actually, just a tablet. And I actually tried one of those during Artrix Con. Like, you guys let me... Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to stop you because I think you haven't realized something. Because you're about to say it doesn't have enough buttons on it, and I want to push buttons. And
it's one
yes,
button.
But also it's raised off your desk on a big hinge, and you could very easily have a full keyboard under it.
I already have that, and I can tell you it's very annoying when you're arting to be using the keyboard while you're also working on your tablet.
I can confirm this. It's very easy with my Cintiq to map the buttons on the side and use those while arting, then putting the arm down and kinda interrupt the flow.
So maybe this wheel.
I'm kinda used of having the tablet in front of me and the other hand arm outstretched on the Control Z key.
Yeah, actually, I've been trying to use the Wacom Intos in the way you describe, but there's only like 4 buttons on the side of it. It's not enough. I still need to use my keyboard for most things anyway.
We need more buttons.
But
I do use. It doesn't mean that I don't use the keyboard at all, but
Artrix,
for things like undoing and undoing and selecting tools and whatnot, I just use the express keys for it.
Okay, that begs the question: if you still use your keyboard for those, which I thought were possibly the most common functions, what do you use the buttons on this Antique for?
Okay, the way I set it up, the key on my stylus is for undo because it's the most frequent one. I think the ones on the let's see, left or mostly have to do with things like zooming in and out, selecting stuff. Like if I press this button, I can move the canvas around, that sort of thing. And the one on the right, which is, because I'm also using my stylus with my right hand, is for things like selecting the brush or the bucket fill or selection tool, that sort of thing.
Right.
But it's different for every artist, obviously. Like some artists will have it set down. That it's fully customizable.
So you are saying that there aren't really enough buttons.
Well, there's enough for the very common instructions, and my keyboard is to my right, so I can use it for things like flipping the canvas or basically any other.
Flipping off the canvas.
Well, that's actually I think the Surface is also a touchscreen. So it has multi-touch for things like moving your canvas around and doing the flipping and stuff.
Yeah, but about that...
I didn't really like that. Like, I didn't always properly select whether I wanted to do the multi-touch thing or when I was using the stylus.
Mm-hmm.
I have to confess, it did work better than I thought it would be. I was genuinely impressed by how it was able to distinguish between the two, but I wasn't really wowed to the point where I was like, yeah, I can use this as my work rig.
You probably get used to its quirks after using it for a while. I think with the Surface it depends. If as long as the pen is anywhere near the tablet, I mean, if it can receive a signal, it's going to disable touch, and that's how it's supposed to work. But I've definitely seen issues with that. So maybe with a bit more refinement, that technology will get better. But and also with your own experience, and you get the feel for when it does and doesn't work. You probably get a better workflow after a while.
And I have to say, I really like the dial thing they introduced in the video, like the trolley thing.
The super twisty knob.
Yeah, the super twisty knob. I can create art all Minority Report styles. I'm like, yeah, let's find the future crime. I mean, let's make some art. So just pushing all the things around.
Your concern with the lack of buttons is like the same concern I have with modern phones. They don't have buttons, and that is displeasing me greatly.
Yeah, that was something I was concerned with initially, but I did really get the hang of typing on those things and generally getting
you just have to use it more than I would. Yes. I use a phone once every 3 years, so I never got used to text messaging. I think the last time I sent a text message on my phone,
I prefer text messages because if I call, there's always a chance that my battery will go dead out of a sudden.
Yeah, I unfortunately have to deal with normies that use nothing but WhatsApp, so...
What's WhatsApp? Don't answer that.
Indeed, what the fuck is WhatsApp? But there are some people use it. Fortunately, I found a way to use it on my computer, so if I really don't feel like fucking around on the phone, I can just open up WhatsApp on my browser and use it. Then it's almost like using Skype or Discord.
I really don't understand why programs like WhatsApp exist. It's like
neither.
Every time people are like, "Oh, I use WhatsApp to do all my text," and then I looked into WhatsApp and I discovered this is just an IM client that works on a phone. And they're like, "What do you mean?" It's like this is just like Skype or MSN Messenger, and they're like, "What? No, it sends texts."
And
like,
why don't you just use fucking Skype? I mean, it works on both your fucking PC
to be honest,
and...
Skype has always been pretty shitty on mobile. I don't know why it's so bad, But if Skype had phone integration correctly, like WhatsApp does, I can see it being a lot better. And I can definitely understand why people don't use Skype. It's trash.
Well, that's correct. The phone app for Skype is garbage. That's definitely true. Like, it could be worse, but I can't really say that I'm impressed. And I know you guys like to, tear Discord a new one, but it does the phone aspect really well compared to Skype.
But that's the thing, Artrix. Everything does it better than Skype.
But
Yes.
Artrix, who cares about phones?
That's true
About what?
too. Phones. Who cares
Well, a
about
lot of people these days care about phones. If you want to
Normies.
sit there and tell me that phones are irrelevant, then you're not living in the current year. I mean, I don't.
This is what you get for making technology popular. Now we have normies using phones.
Oh, that is the funny thing about Discord, because what has effectively happened is, okay, so you have Discord for the normies, right? Like, hey, here's the ticket to Barcelona, because that's where I'll be going in a few weeks. And then there is something like WhatsApp that's even more normie. It's like, hey uncle, whatever. And then there's Discord, which you just kind of keep to yourself and your online mates. Like, yeah, this is our secret hideout. No normies allowed.
Secret. He's got a secret.
And I guess I can go one more level and set up a IRC channel or some
Irish
other
Sea
deep
channel?
hacks. Irish Sea channel, yes.
We're going to the Irish Sea. Why? It's cold. You don't want to swim there.
Well,
I don't.
the Dutch will, but only if it's New Year's. Like, no, I'm not kidding. On the first of every year, there's like this tradition where a shit ton of Dutch people will go to the beach, unironically, and they'll swim for a few seconds or minutes, and they probably get a cold doing it, but they do it. It's like, yeah, this
silly.
water is freezing cold, but it's the current year now.
Indeed.
That's silly. You're silly. Stop being Dutch.
No, I can't.
You can't. It's a serious psychological problem.
I know.
It's not like you were born like that. No way.
He chose to be Dutch.
Yes.
Really? You can do that? You can just wake up one day and say, I'm Dutch now?
Well, maybe you should try it sometime.
Okay.
Ah.
I'm Dutch now. No, it doesn't feel right.
You didn't wake up. That's it.
Oh, okay. So I have to go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And will I be
Also,
Dutch tomorrow?
you don't sound particularly Dutch to me, and I know
Oh.
I'm an expert on these
Yeah,
things.
you need to be like.
Allahu Akbar.
No.
What?
That's how you know you're not dealing with a proper Dutch person, because you're just making random gargly noises.
No, I'm speaking Dutch.
No. Ik spreek nu Nederlands. That's how you do it.
Exactly. That's what I said.
No, you just said.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
I think
See,
we're having
that's how.
seeing a cultural issue here. You know,
Oh God! No! Panboy, don't do it! Don't do it! Stay away from the phone. Don't call up the social justice Stasi.
don't worry. I'm
He's
allergic.
got a culture.
Don't.
Lay the culture down on the ground and step away.
No, I want to. I like
You
this
are
culture.
white. You can't have a culture.
Is that true?
Okay, there was this topic I want to discuss, and I forgot all about it.
Too.
Oh well, you should go ahead, because we don't have Astra with us this time around, so we can't have
well, that's a
Astra
shame.
time with the Astra.
You know Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game people studio.
I've heard of them.
Me too.
Yes. they make games. Well, apparently recently they released an announcement that they are not going to give out review copies of games until a day before the release.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Wait a
not
minute,
very
didn't
nice
they
of them.
already have the policy of not giving review copies to the quote gaming press?
Yes, but that one makes sense.
Yeah, they
So
weren't
they
giving review
reinstated-
copies to Polygon and Kotaku because
They
Polygon
do
and
shit all
Kotaku
over
were
the
just
games.
they weren't reviewing games in a way that Bethesda considered to be legitimate, and I can't say I disagree with that assessment.
The problem nowadays is publishers have noticed that people don't really care about reviews being present at all. They just buy it, they pre-order it, and even if there are a few publications that are negative, it impacts maybe like a small subgroup, and basically
Well,
even bothering to go to the trouble through negative press, it's not worth it.
well, like
I think you're
you would think so that the pre-orders are automatic, but the thing is, now that they effectively curbed all the reviews until day before release. I mean, okay, the reviews were usually released right before the release or on the day of the release because embargoes, but the people who did those reviews had those games before and had actually time to play through them and figure out what the game is like. Now they have like 24 hours if they don't sleep to play the game and write a review. Which is
That's something I don't get.
It's not contributing to the objectivity of such a review because you can't do it properly, in depth. You are going to rush it.
Also, one thing
it's
I don't.
basically Artrix. It's basically to finish. It's basically saying that just really wants people to not cancel pre-orders.
Yeah, that's the biggest reason, and they noticed it worked out with Wolfenstein, it worked out with Doom, so they basically said, oh, because of this, we don't really need... and they have like, and of course it's Bethesda, so Bethesda gets always a free pass, and they know
Doom
exactly
was a kind of shit show, because they were like, we are not going to release for it, because we want everyone to experience it at the same time, and then they released the multiplayer, which was shit.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. But
And what I don't really get in general is the tendency of people apparently jumping in, buying the game at frickin' launch, while they could wait
before
maybe
the freaking launch.
yeah, while they could also opt to just wait a day or two, see what the initial reactions are, see some YouTube vids, then decide whether to buy a game or not.
I kind of like the way they did it with Dishonored, because if you pre-ordered Dishonored 2, which is coming out in a week, you would get the first one HD or Deluxe edition or whatever, the one that has all the stuff.
Yeah, people
So
are
if you don't have the base game yet, you can pretend you're buying it for the full price and getting the sequel for free.
people are incentivized to spend money before they actually get the product by giving them
And the
trinkets.
thing with pre-orders, of course, is on Steam at least that you might have refunds, but if you play the thing you got with the pre-order and then find out the actual game is shit, you can't return it because the bonus game counts.
you can contest that. That will just stop the automatic pre-order from working, or the automatic refund. But if you ring up support and say, "Hey, I just got this game. It says I have 27 hours in it, but I just unlocked it today, and it's the absolute most shit I've ever shat on. So I'd like my money back, please."
Of course, Steam support is being Steam support, so you're lucky if they respond in 2 years.
Nah, they're not that bad. In fact, lots of people did exactly that for No Man's Sky.
Yes, and then they decided they are going to automatically fund it with no limit.
Mm-hmm.
Then they closed it again because they found out that 70% at least refunded it.
Yeah, that game did not do very well, for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know
wonder why.
I can't fathom it.
I think it was because it was bad.
I didn't bother with
Yeah,
the
but
game in any
but
way,
there's
shape,
also
or form.
but there's also another trend which also is kind of problematic with the reviews because they realized that people are actually willing to pay extra money to get to play a game early.
Yeah.
So they get early.
Yeah,
I think
early
they did it
access.
with Battlefield 1. But yeah, people are playing like $20 more to play it early, so
It's
It's
kind of
gonna
what
be the
happens
next
with,
big thing.
with early access too. It's too convoluted a problem. Okay.
Essentially, early access has become the developers' beta testers, and if it's if they sell enough, they might not even consider finishing the damn game because they already got their shekels.
Yeah. I mean, the moment they're starting having shops and microtransactions, even if it's still in alpha, you should treat it like a game that's complete because they are fucking charging money for it.
Mhm.
Also, No Man's Sky isn't doing that bad. I mean, the recent reviews might be overwhelmingly negative, but overall, it's only mostly negative.
That doesn't sound terrible at all.
Yeah. I mean, of course, if you ignore all the bad reviews, it's actually all good reviews.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And ignore the fact that the game is a boring slogfest of tedious resource gathering and nothing
Panboy,
interesting to do.
Panboy, it's like a game where you can just zone out, and it's all about the journey. And
That would be nice if there was anything to actually see or experience along that journey, but you're just going from copy-pasted planet to copy. Okay, they were randomly generated, but that still didn't stop them from all being exactly the same. There was the same bullshit on every single one of them. The same flowers, the same crystals, the same randomly generated, slightly different animals and varying exactly the same configurations.
Yeah. Well, what I really hated about the game was weird green diffraction filter that was over everything.
Well, you
but
know, you
it
have
makes
to
it
have that.
quirky.
Sure.
It is the most quirkiest
Come on,
of games.
it's 2016. Everything needs to be quirky. Why do you think all the characters are drawn noodle arms? Because it's quirky.
Will Johnny Bravo have noodle arms? That's the real question.
No, he doesn't. But that's something I need to change now because I'm not making. It's not truly Johnny Bravo 2017. So let's see. I'm going to predict the future.
Well, the noodling is somewhere else.
All right. So obviously the shape of the head cannot have any nuance. So
Talking about noodles, you know what's
And-
like noodles? Spaghetti is like noodles. And you know
and-
who spaghetti spills today?
Oh no, who?
Well, it was BlizzCon. It still is BlizzCon. It started today. And so far, Blizzard has announced these great things like Diablo 1 as a free DLC for Diablo 3.
What? Alright.
Yes.
Yeah, they are remaking the Diablo 1 inside
Yes.
Diablo 3.
I don't know why would you do such a heresy.
That sounds awful, because I hate Diablo 3 because it looks awful.
Diablo 3
Well,
looks...
they are gonna give a solution to that because you will get also a pixelated shader that makes it look retro.
That doesn't sound good at all.
The problem with Diablo 3 is that its existence is an affront to the rest of the series.
That's true.
Well, also, I mean, I can't really rate the expansion because I never tried it, but just the cover art has the most edgy and dark guy I ever seen.
Is his name Darky Edge Emerson?
Probably. He's dressed all in black and he wields two sickles, and he has
Oh.
arms crossed on his chest.
Does he wield two sickles even when you equip him with a battle axe? Because that's what I hated with Diablo 3. I equipped my witch doctor with a battle axe and he used a dart thrower. I was like, what?
I don't think you can equip him. I think he's the villain. He's very dark and edgy and mysterious, you know?
But it's Diablo, everyone's supposed to be like that.
So they are more like colorful in the Diablo 3.
Exactly. Which is why I hate the game.
Well, anyway, another thing they announced in today's Diablo panel was the Necromancer from Diablo 2 is going to be a paid DLC for Diablo 3.
Oh, that's great.
Much great. And in other news, World of Warcraft, it's still going through shit. They are continuing their philosophy of we are not looking into the past by introducing holidays that remember past content and adding dungeons with past content retuned for today's stats and adding more achievements that you get for farming old raids. Wait a moment.
Also, speaking
I think
of
they are close to imploding.
speaking of the World of Warcrafts and by extent Blizzard.
Oh yeah, also Overwatch. They are now
new
trying
character.
Yes. And
Yes.
everybody's saying she's OP. She's purple. And also, Blizzard is on their own event trying to treat Overwatch like a serious esport in hopes it maybe can catch on or something.
Well, it is very popular. Would even and this is just my personal observation, but it seems to be like it seems to be extremely popular amongst girls. I mean, a lot of you go to the Twitters and you see a lot of girls being all like, yeah, I got home, I played some Overwatch.
That's because girls are not real gamers, and Overwatch is not a real game.
Now, from what I've seen, it's fine. It's not. It's no.
It's a MOBA, or if you want, arena-based tactical team shooter, which means that it's copied from every other game of the genre ever.
I mean,
it is true, but there's a trend I've noticed in competitive gaming. Games that are considered competitive and played competitively are not fun, and apparently Overwatch is fun. So it will never be a competitive game.
I don't know.
If they try to
Hearthstone
make
can be
it
fun sometimes.
Yeah, if they try to make it competitive by doing what they do to competitive games to make them competitive, which is balance the shit out of them until every character in them is basically exactly the same, and there's 5 characters in the game that will be the only ones anyone ever actually plays, then the game becomes incredibly boring and very, very... They end up with a particular set of strategies that you must learn and execute to perfection, or you'll either be laughed out of the game or simply lose constantly for not knowing these things.
I mean, like fire hopping Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, that would be one of those things.
I don't think Mario Kart is played that competitive.
Well, yeah, if it was, something like that would have been nerfed completely to be completely unusable.
Yes.
Actually, they kinda did with the new with the 200cc update, because it kinda was pointless by then.
Yeah, because if you'd be able to fire up in 200cc, you'd be going so fast that you just crash into everything. That's the thing about 200cc in Mario Kart, because that mode is more about control than actually going fast.
Let me guess. 200cc is the mode that most people consider to be competitive?
No, not really.
I
mean, okay. To be fair, the Mario Kart tournament on the Mario Kart tournament on V was set to 200cc, but I guess that was just because it was a novelty at the time. They were like, "Yeah, this is a new game mode, so we're just gonna go 200cc."
Is it the game mode tryhards play all the time?
No, I think it's quite to the contrary, because the tryhards are on 150cc, trying to get the fastest time by using all the fire hopping and demon hopping and sliding and all the pro techniques that are out there.
Well, Artrix knows them all because he uses them.
No, I haven't quite mastered the whole demon sliding thing, and at this point I don't even care all that much.
Remember that part where I said that there's a bunch of techniques and strategies you must learn in a competitive game to make it at all playable? Yeah, did you see what you just listed?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Mario Kart. You don't have to.
Yeah, you do. If you want
have to anything.
Yeah, if you don't want to be second place behind Artrix. Meanwhile, Artrix is like half a lap in front of you. Then
You still have a reasonable even with all the fire hopping and whatnot. I lose it from time to time.
To other people who are fire hopping.
Probably
just doing it better.
No. This was all between me and some other people in Artrix chat. So that, and I think I'm the only one who actually knows how to fire hop, even though it's piss easy to learn.
Okay, apparently from the news I just got, Blizzard reintroduced flying in the new expansion. This is the second expansion in a row when they were like, we are handcrafting these locations. We deserve for people to go through them and notice all the details. So no flying in these. And then a patch later, you can now fly.
Sounds exciting.
Yes, it is.
Sign me up.
It's a very exciting game. So I have to give Blizzard credit. This is the first expansion that pissed off both the casual and the hardcore players.
Wait, just hardcore WoW players? I don't even understand what that means.
Yes, that there are still such people. Oh, back in the day, those were the people who, got into a raid.
I thought that was a standard part of the game.
Well, not back then, because you had to have 40 people who were geared and maybe had some buffs on them and new tactics. That's not like your average person. Then it got a bit more manageable, and now it's so casual that you actually have random raid finder, and it scales with how many people you have.
Oh.
Yeah. Then you have the extra difficult mythic difficulty, which is considered like the what the raids should be. and then the raiders are pissed off that they have to farm 4 difficulties of the same exact content, and then you have the casual people pissed off that for finishing their, I don't know what anyone is, professions, I guess, that they have to go to raids.
Yeah, that does sound pretty miserable. I'm playing an RPG that's supposed to be PvE.
It's MMORPG even. And
MMOQC.
I actually saw a highly upvoted post on the forums from a person that was complaining that this expansion forces them to group up.
Well, that's because grouping up is awful in those games.
The joke is that this expansion is the most single player to date because all the quests recognize you as the leader of your class in the entire world.
That makes perfect sense.
In an MMO. Yes, I know. And then it forces you to group up. Can you imagine that?
It's like, you are the leader of the Thieves, Mages, and Fighters Guild. But no, you can't go on this mission on your own. And you're like, wait, who's giving me these orders if I'm the leader?
Yes. You need people to help you. But I wanted to play the leader, not be with people.
But you have to because reasons.
Yes.
I'll give you raisins.
Raisins?
I like raisins.
No,
Good for you.
They're okay, I guess.
They're full of vitamins.
True.
They're
Anyways,
delicious.
I think I'm done rendering the shit out of this Johnny
Well
Bravo.
done.
Who's
Just
like,
in general with life.
yeah, I think gonna edit after this.
Oh.
Gonna get ready for the upcoming nuclear apocalypse. Might as well check out now.
Okay.
Anyways, go ahead.
But we don't know who's going to win the election yet. It might not be nuclear. It could just be a massive chemical attack on the entire planet.
Yeah.
I'd laugh. It would be so funny if neither Hillary or Trump win, and
somehow, that would be the most hilarious thing ever. If after all this time of Trump is evil and Hillary emails blah blah, and then Jill Stein won. So you both got your damn female president, and you, I don't know what is
and
this Green Party?
Then suddenly the guy, what's Aleppo, wins.
Who's that?
I don't know.
The libertarian guy, whatever. There was There's
That
the
one.
Libertarians. Oh yeah, I guess that's him.
Gary Johnson.
Oh yeah, Gary Johnson. He's the Libertarian, right?
How would you solve the situation around Aleppo? What's Aleppo?
Good job. So yeah, but yeah, you wake up and it's like Jill Stein is now the president. Oh, so what does it mean? Then the United States just becomes green overnight. Like you look at the map.
Congratulations, Mr. President. You are Mr. President. What's a president?
I find it funny. You see a lot of these posts on the internet where people are like, "My God, don't throw away your vote by voting for a third party. If you do that, Trump might win." And I'm like, this person obviously doesn't want Hillary to win either. He doesn't want either of them to win.
That's the retarded thing about all of this. They're like this whole notion that we have to stop Trump from winning. So how vote Hillary? I'm like,
No.
if you're dissatisfied with both candidates, right? You don't, and a lot of people have this sentiment. If you don't like both candidates, just vote third party. You know that a lot of people are like, fuck this shit.
If enough people really don't like Hillary and Trump, and they do, and ends up that a third party gets more votes than Hillary or Trump because so many people hate the two of them, I mean, someone else could be the president.
Yes.
Imagine that you're the third party and suddenly you get the results and you won, and it's because you didn't count on winning.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah,
What the fuck am I going to do now? I wasn't prepared to be a president. I just wanted to be a vice president or a governor.
Yeah, but seriously, this notion that we have to stop Trump from winning, it's dumb.
Well, it's because he's a literal Hitler.
Oh, of course he is.
Also a devil. He's the devil's Hitler. So apparently, if he wins, then on the first day of his office, he'll be 70 years old and 7 months and 7 days.
Exactly, down to the last second.
Top gag.
Top kick indeed, and I think that's
Kick
what we're
top.
going to end today's episode on. So, thank you all for
on the toppest gags.
on the toppest of kicks. The program that usually plays the music, I think it broke because I don't think it's been working for the past 3 days. I'm not even going to attempt to get working now. So no outro music for you.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Which is kind of ironic because otherwise you would be able to hear it in Germany now because Google and Gamer finally have come to terms and we can finally watch music videos and listen to music. It's not blocked anymore. So
Germany's
now even the
becoming so
German
progressive.
audience can, so now even the German audience can watch Radio Rothingham.
Not that the music that I was playing was... No, it wasn't. I mean, the music that I was using was even licensed under Creative Commons license, so I was actually allowed to use it. But yeah, the program that I use for the fancy fade-ins and whatnot, it's just not working anymore for some reason. So I probably should update the program, but at this point I'm not even sure if I want to go through the trouble of doing that, and I might as well just look for a new program that's not shit.
That's usually better, yeah.
That's usually better because it has been a pretty shitty program. Anyway, like, subscribe, add video to favorites, and praise Keck.
Apparently, there's a erotic political drama about Hillary and Trump.
Of
I
course,
thought that was factual.
Lol.
So yeah, next week, it will be, Radio Rothingham post-elections, and we can all laugh at the retardedness that will come about. So
From whichever side.
from whichever side. I mean, okay. Before we stop, here's my prediction. So, if Hillary wins, right, everyone's just gonna be like, or at least everyone who's not an idiot is gonna be like, yep, we're back at the status quo. It's just gonna be 4 more years of the same old shit that we've been dealing with.
Everybody who is an idiot will be like, yeah, vagina!
Yeah. That's also what's gonna happen. You're gonna have all these people that are gonna be like, look how progressive the United States is because we got a female president. It's so progressive.
We had a female president.
And then we just point to ourselves like, Europe had that shit like ages ago. Like, no one really likes Merkel, but there she is. See Merkel standing right there.
And all it proves is women are terrible leaders.
And if Trump wins, we can look forward to 4 years of basically Brexit, but on a United States scale. So people questioning democracy, like, should we give people the vote? That's the sort of clickbaity articles we'll see. It's like, should we give the people of the United States the vote? Click here. And they don't click because that's a retarded article title. It's not worth it.
Look what you did with your democracy. You elected the person you wanted.
Yeah.
That we didn't.
It's the same situation like with Brexit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's essentially that would be the United States' version of Brexit.
We didn't get the result we wanted. That means democracy is bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen some people on the Twitters that were like, "Oh my God, don't do it, Dutch Brexit, don't, please no."
Didn't British courts decide that Brexit has to be confirmed by Parliament? And then Theresa May was like, "I'm going to prepare for it anyway."
Mm-hmm.
I said we are going to do it, so we are going to do
it. That does sound pretty based. Anyways, I am going to end this episode. So,
yes, end it.
Okay,
those are
Just
our predictions. So see you in a week. Yeah, Marco words, whatever.
Okay.
I'll win the election.
Vote Panboy. Do it now.